Hey, yo, black men, what's happening? Peace. Now, in one of my most recent videos, I talked about, talking about a solution for black men who want to go overseas. And guys who want to go overseas, listen, there's so many ways to do it. Again, I highly advise you guys, first of all, travel first. Don't just up and leave. Don't just, pick somewhere and you don't know anything about the culture. There's a language barrier. You don't know how you're going to make money. The number one thing about going overseas, you don't want to end up having to come back, and not coming back because you want to visit, not coming back because you wanted to see family. You're coming back because you have to. You feel me? You ran out of money, or you have no money coming in, or things got so hard you got desperate. And no, that's not the proper way to do it, right? First of all, travel first. Travel to places that you actually want to go to. Spend 1 week, spend 2 weeks, spend 3 weeks, spend 4 weeks in these places multiple times, multiple cities within the country, and find what place really resonates with you. Find the place that you feel the most joy, you feel the most sense of enjoyment from. Find the place where you have the most joy. Find the place where you have the most comfortability. Find a place where your money goes the furthest for you, right? And find places where, listen, you can create opportunities, not just for yourself, but for the local people. Again, being an American, the last thing you want to do is come in and invade. Now, again, we're not in those times no more, but what people don't realize is, as an American or even a European person, when you go to these other countries and we decide to stay, we're price gouging, or the locals who have real estate and these companies that own the real estate down there, they will price gouge, and they're gonna boost things up to get more value out of getting the money from the American dollar or the British pound or the euro, compared to getting people from the local currency to pay them those high wages. So now they're hiking everything up. You're making things too high for the locals, and you're making their life harder. So again, provide some kind of opportunity for them. But the biggest thing I really want to talk about, once you find a place that you enjoy, the place you want to call home, now here comes the reality. You're going to want to date. You're going to want to have children. When it comes to this option right here, right? When it comes to the route right here, right? It's one thing when you just want to be a single guy in these countries, but when you want to have a family, again, you have to look at the structure of the society. In South America, Central America, and even in Asia, listen, you have to keep it a stack. Being black puts you at the bottom. I'm not saying that you couldn't have opportunities. I'm not saying that your American status doesn't overweigh you being black or your children being black. But within the society, if your child has to grow up in these societies, listen, certain issues, certain problems will come. And yeah, you may be a millionaire, you may be a billionaire in that currency within that country, but people still follow the hierarchy of the society. And again, speaking for South America, where they brought millions of black people, it don't matter if you're in North America, Central America, or South America, black people are at the bottom. Let's just keep it a stack. They're at the bottom. And when you're a black man who has money, when you're a black man who has status, when you're a black man who has his shit together, people don't know how to receive you sometimes. You're probably going to deal with that a little more in South America compared to Asia, just because Asian people don't really have reference points, right? They don't have a reference point of a black man. Because why? Asian societies are racially hegemonic, meaning that 95 to 98% of the country, they see Asian people and Asian people only. Again, South America, North America, Central America, they have reference points of black men. And guess what? These black men are at the bottom. especially in those South American countries where you're even more at the bottom compared to being an American black man. An American black man, you're at the bottom, but at least you can rise up. It's a lot harder for black men in these Latin countries to rise up, right? In the Asian countries, again, I know a lot of people go to Asia, for work because Asian countries tend to provide a salary that's, somewhat comparable to an American salary, especially if you have the right skills, degrees, and you're fluent in a language. So, at least Asia provides work opportunities, but I personally don't think as an American, you're going to want to go to any country and actually work. You get to realize that American culture, American work culture, we actually have it good. We have jobs where we can pretty much go to work and slack off. You go to work and slack off in Asia, trust me, they're gonna fire your ass quick and hire the next person that wants to come over here. You feel me? In America, we can go to work for 8 hours, do the exact bare minimum, and still get paid. It doesn't get any better than that. So honestly, set yourself up before you decide to go overseas. Again, have some real estate, have an online business, something, dude. Sell merchandise, sell consultations, sell travel information, something, dude. You don't want to have to come back over here. Join the military. Work 20 years at a company. Get a pension from the military, get a pension from the company, something, dude. Do something. You feel me? And again, if you go over there with enough money, you can create a business, excuse me, where you can earn money in the local currency. And again, it might not be a whole lot. Or if you're in a country where it has a lot of tourism, create a business that's centered around the tourism. You feel me? Where all the local people, yeah, they may not have the money to support you, but guess what? The European people traveling, they could support you. The Americans traveling, they could support you. Shoot, even some of the Asian people who really have big money to spend, or even some of the Hispanic Latin people that have big money to spend, they can support you. Again, the main thing is you don't want to end up back in America or back in Europe, right? Now, when it comes to the children part, so I'm seeing that dudes will rather settle in people's countries and parade around their women in the native man's face and expect it to be safe. That's a big problem. Like I said, black men, for whatever reason, black men have a tendency of showing everything off. We got to talk about it. We got to post about it on the internet. We got to upload it. We want the whole world to see. And stuff like that tends to hurt our image. Again, it's funny how white men do the same thing, but as a black man, let's keep it a stack. We're the grandfathers, dude. Imagine looking at your granddad doing something goofy. You thinking your granddad, you supposed to know better. It's the same thing with black men. We are the oldest group of men on the planet. You feel me? Everybody else, that's our nephews. Everybody else, that's little bro. Everybody else, that's your little cousin. You feel me? So parading around the women again, I saw a video clip of an Asian man talking down to a white guy. And the Asian dude was talking cash money ish to him. But again, parading around the Asian girls in front of these men. Again, these men in these other countries, dude, they work hard and they earn literally 1/5, 1/4 of what an American man is making or a European man is making. You feel me? Listen, in the States, bringing home $2,000 a month, that's nothing. That's nothing. But you realize if you take that same $2,000 to most countries, you can live great off of $2,000. You feel me? Let alone if you're making money online and you're bringing in 3,000, 4,000, $5,000, dude. You're living like a boss, a true king in these other countries. You feel me? Again, in these other countries where you're paying what, five, six, seven, eight, even $900 for rent. I mean, some places, yeah, you can possibly pay, American prices, $1,500 for rent, $2,000 for rent. Outside of the rent, though, everything else about your life is gonna pretty much be, very, very affordable. Groceries affordable, paying for utilities affordable. I mean, you don't really need a car, so where are you going? You know what I mean? But the point I'm trying to really get to though is with the children. Again, I honestly think what most digital nomads, passport bros, whatever you want to call people, listen, there's a strong possibility that the women in these countries are not likely to stay with you in their homelands. Again, a lot of you dudes, you're coming to these countries and you're not fully equipped. Again, what's going to make a woman choose you, a foreigner, over the guy who's actually in her society? They grew up the same way. They think the same way. They have the same outlook on life. Yes, you may be able to provide a higher quality of life, but you guys can't click anywhere outside of that because why? You haven't learned the language. You haven't culturally assimilated to what's going on in these places, man. So you're standing out too much. You feel me? And it's far more likely they like you and black culture, right? I will say that much. Yes, you have to compete against the local men, but there's a strong possibility that she likes you and black culture. And if you had a house, particularly, I would say somewhere in Africa, listen, you can actually swallow up Asian women and Latinas. You feel me? Other than that, you're on hostile territory, biding your time, hoping no one realizes that they should just fight you anyway. That's the reality. And the reason why I say Africa, because let's keep it a stack. As black people, we are welcoming. We show everybody love. You feel me? And white people, they turned that against us, man, because we're so welcoming, because we're so helpful, because we're so loving, because we don't have malice in our hearts. They use that against us. Again, Africa, for all you brothers, man, listen, you go into Asia, Europe, South America, and you're creating these half breed children. What place will your children be accepted at? You feel me? Where they don't have this mejor la raza, blanqueamiento mindset, or they don't have the mindset of, oh, well, your child is black, so they don't fit into society in Asia. Again, I can only imagine. Again, in Asia, at least in South America, they have black people there. You're just at the bottom. You feel me? So it's like America, you're at the bottom. In Asia, where the country is like 95, 98% Asian and you're black, but you're a Blasian kid, male or female, you look very different from everybody else. Meaning, I don't know the terms for other countries, but in Japan, you're pretty much a gaijin. You're pretty much a gaijin, meaning you're an outsider. You know what I'm saying? So taking your kids back to Africa, and I mentioned in one of my videos, the Chinese are building up Africa, right? There's a book called China's Second Continent, which is Africa. They are building up Africa in ways, well, listen, opportunities to make money, opportunities to, own real estate, opportunities to help the local people. It's there in abundance. So, black men, if this is what you really want to do, look into buying a home in Africa. And I also have another option as well. Buying a home in Africa, finding a community where black American men, or just black men in general, but I think black American men, black European men, we should formulate these countries. I'm sorry, we should formulate these communities within these countries where our children can grow up amongst each other. So we kind of already know what direction to steer them in. the capabilities that, mind you, think about this. If you have your child born in these foreign countries, again, I'm not sure how Europe might work, but as an American, if your child is born overseas, because the father, right, is an American, all you have to do is apply for American citizenship before the child turns 18, and guess what? They have status, right? If you want your kids to go to high school in America, they can. If you want your kids to go to college in America, they can. Or they can attend it in their birth country, which would be that country that you moved to. You feel me? And if you don't want to do that option, going to Africa, again, black men going to these countries, you need to formulate communities. If you guys are really trying to have families, there should be a community where black American men are living at. And guess what? You know all the people here. Guess what? Your children know all the other children here. So when your kids go to school, listen, they have friends, they fit in, and they don't have to worry about trying to acclimate to that society. Again, because you guys have the American passport, you have the US dollar or the British pound. Listen, you guys are pretty much living a higher class lifestyle than the blacks of that society or the locals, regardless of race in that society. So you pretty much negate a lot of social dynamics, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the hierarchy, social norms that, pretty much fall on black people. And not to mention, you will be creating a better image of black men. When people see black men, they always think in sports or crime, entertainment somehow. Show these people that black men were so much more than that. And when we come together to create and build, we're unstoppable. But I think that's all I gotta say for this one. Anyways, I'm out. Peace.